Greetings, everyone. Just gonna burn a little stuff tone for this evening. I hope that you have your pen and paper prepared. I hope you got your pen and paper ready. Like I said, I'm going to go through quite a bit of information in a condensed period of time. And I want to make sure that you get it. Understand? I'm just going to burn some mugwort and some sage, some copal, frankincense, and myrrh. Okay, all right. Got a little smoke going. Okay. Greetings. My name is Cassandra Faye Floyd, also known as the daughter of the Fates, founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. Good. Cool. All right. So I first want to say, so I'm very careful about how I'm wording this. I know I promised you guys that I would do, greetings, Patricia, that I would do a live last night at 9:36, and I did not. I will not apologize for not, because I deliberately did not. I went to sleep at 8 o'clock and made up my mind that I was not going to. This is the part of the process of me honoring myself in the moment. So, great. I wanted to, excuse me. Hello? 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 Okay. All right. So, I am doing that tonight. Let me just put that on Do Not Disturb. And you still have plenty of time to prepare, as I will just be preparing as you are preparing. Okay? So let me just put this on really quick. Q. Thank you, T. All right. So like I said earlier, when I read to you guys at 5 o'clock, whoever shows up is supposed to show up. Hopefully, those who do not show up will be in a position to watch this live tomorrow in preparation for tomorrow's big events. Now, what I promised you guys was that I would talk to you a bit about the significance of tomorrow, about how to prepare for tomorrow, about how tomorrow factors into the grand scheme of things that has been this radical October, how this radical October factors into the next few months, and likewise, how the next few months factor into the next year. Okay? Now, I think that I should first start by not assuming that you know what tomorrow is. Tomorrow is the completion of this most recent eclipse season, which is October 28th, and we will be greeted on October 28th by a lunar eclipse, aka blood moon. That blood moon is occurring in the sign of Scorpio, but that blood moon is in Taurus. Okay? And Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and as we know, and as I have stated incessantly for a very long time and many, many times, Pluto, which rules Scorpio, stationed direct after about 6 months in retrograde motion. She stationed direct on October 10th, which was the 1010 portal, just days before Venus was exalted on Friday the 13th, and even furthered in that exaltation in the solar eclipse that we experienced on October 14th. Okay? Okay. So depending upon where you are in the world, or in this country in particular, the times of the peak of that lunar eclipse. So I would just say, from what I am gathering, for what is certain, actually, none of us will see the lunar eclipse necessarily. So these are the times of the lunar eclipse, okay? The peak of the lunar eclipse. 4:24 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. So 3:24 Central Time, 2:24 Mountain Time, and 1:24 Pacific Standard Time. So we will not necessarily see like the blood moon aspect of the lunar eclipse, because all of us in the West are going to be seeing this moon in the daylight hours, right? We'll see it in the daylight hours, so it won't appear in its traditional blood-like allure. Does not mean that the eclipse is not happening, and that the energy of the eclipse will not benefit us. We will not be able to tap into that. So that is one thing I wanted to allow you to be mindful of. Okay? Now, what I was saying to you guys in preparation the whole week before the solar eclipse, this is my personal opinion. This is my personal position. This is my personal approach to these type of lunar events. Hell, any astrological events. I've been in this place before. When I was a young 26-year-old Black girl entering into a Black nationalist, like, revolutionary organization, I was so overwhelmed by how much I thought I knew about the world that was false. It was like my whole world had been turned upside down. What I thought I knew about the world, what I thought I knew about race relations, what I thought I knew about history. It was like everything that I had learned was a lie. You understand? Everything. And so instead of being overwhelmed by that feeling, I just took a position. My position then at 26 years old was, I don't have to worry. I don't have to wonder if what I'm learning or what I have learned is correct or incorrect. All I got to do is, if white people say it, I take the opposite position, right? That was my position back then. If the white world say this guy is bad, I take the opposite position. If the white world say it's night outside, I take the opposite position, right? Well, I'm telling you, 20-something years later, that this is my position now, where spiritual work, where magical work, where astrological work is concerned. This does not have to apply to anybody but me. But y'all are watching me tonight, and so I'm going to tell you my perspective. But I always tell you, will forever tell you, what resonates with you what resonates with your spirit, what resonates with your flesh, keep it. What does not resonate with you, what does not feel right to you, what does not apply to you, no shade, no harm, no foul. Leave it where it is. Some things might be for you, some things might not be. So no judgment on my part, okay? So I'm prefacing that way because you will read or you will watch or you will learn from 1,000 different sources, whether they're spiritual sources or cultural sources or traditional sources, almost identically the same thing. That on eclipses, you should cower. On eclipses, you should stay inside. On eclipses, you shouldn't do any magical work. If you do, tread lightly. Be careful. On eclipses, you should just journal. You should be by yourself. On eclipses, and I'm telling you across the board, from extremely witchy sites to, native and indigenous, Western hemispheric, traditional and cultural beliefs, the gamut, Ifa, you understand? On and on and on. Everybody say the same thing. Eclipses are to be feared because the energy is so chaotic and nobody has the power to work with that kind of chaos magic. Eclipses, it's like eclipses of horror stories or something. Now, for me, when I went out, I told y'all what happened. For those of you who are rocking with me, for those of you who have been rocking with me, especially over these last 3 weeks, I told y'all what happened the fuck up on this mountain. So while all of the general narrative is telling you powerful people, you powerful women, to stay your ass at home, to not do ritual, to wait until 48 hours after the eclipse is over, to just take a bath, to just journal and shit. I went up on that mountain in my opposition to that narrative and watched this white scientist conduct a whole ass ritual up at the Griffith Observatory using the clueless energy of hundreds of people out there watching the eclipse. So while they're telling you to stay your ass at home and don't do magic work, somebody is tapping into chaos magic work. Somebody is tapping into and making use of eclipse magic while they tell you to stay your ass at home. Be inside. Don't leave the house. Don't do magic. You understand? So my position now, as it was when I was a brand new Black nationalist, now as a spiritual radical, if you will, my position is the same. Whatever the general consensus is, whatever the general agreed upon narrative is in spiritual spaces, I automatically take the opposite position. Now, that's me. You understand? Now, with that being me, I'm telling you, take your ass outside tomorrow. Scoop yourself up some witches. Even if they aren't conscious witches, scoop your ass up some women to go out in the trees, go out in some field, preferably trees tomorrow, but go out in some field, go out to the beach, go out to a body of water if you are not near the ocean. Go sit under some big ash tree tomorrow and get this motherfucking work in. That's my position. Now, with that call being made, right, and with the readings that I've done for many of you this week, I am, as soon as this call is over, I'm going to scout a location and I'm going to create an event for tomorrow. Yes, I know it's extremely spontaneous, but that is the wind of Oya, spontaneous. Understand? That is the energy of Pluto, spontaneous. You dig? So as soon as I finish this live that I'm doing with you guys tonight, I'm going to go scout a location to do ritual work tomorrow. And I will announce that location via my Facebook page. So if you are not connected to me on Facebook, go to Facebook and look up my Facebook page, which is Cassandra Faye Floyd, or facebook.com/Daughter of the Fates. And then in my groups, I have several groups, but the one that you're going to want to tap into is the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. You can just type it in the search engine in Facebook. That is the group page for the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. There, this evening, which is late for a lot of you, I will share the information and location for the ritual that we will be doing tomorrow. Now, tomorrow, Pacific Standard Time, the peak of this lunar eclipse is at 1:24 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is not the time that we will be doing ritual. So you can do what you want to do at home, whether that is tend to your ancestral altar, which is what I'm going to teach you guys tonight, or whether it is, taking a spiritual bath or putting out your waters. That's the other thing. They tell you don't do no waters. Don't put your crystals out in the blood moon. Listen, the blood is the domain of the mothers. Okay? The moon is the domain of the mothers. The mothers govern all eclipses. So no, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do all the things. Like I see everything. I'm taking the opposite. I'm putting all my motherfucking crystals out in this moon tomorrow. I'm putting a big giant glass of water out tomorrow. Let's see. Off topic question in TMI. How could I use my menstrual blood during the eclipse? I'm going to talk to you about that, T. I'm going to talk to you about it. It's not off topic at all. It's right on topic. It's right on point. You feel me? So that's what I'm telling you. That's my personal position, because I know somebody is going to want to contradict. But what I heard was, how I was taught was, what I learned was, what my elder taught me. That is cool. It is cool because you are your temple. You are your temple. That's why I tell you, what resonates with you, keep it. If it don't resonate with you, you don't have to have no emotional attachment to it whatsoever. Say, that ain't for me. That ain't for me. And that's all. You don't have to be outraged about what ain't for you. You don't have to be mad about what ain't for you. You do not have to be mad about that which contradicts what is for you. What is for you, you keep it. What ain't for you, leave it where it is. That's all. So, like I said, this presentation that I'm doing for you right now is my position for me and my practice. Those what I have to share with you after having had mentors, after 10 years of medical school, after all of these things that have culminated in how I practice my spiritual relationship with myself. When I practice a spiritual relationship with myself, this is directly connected to my relationship with my ancestors. This is directly connected to my relationship with my ancestors and my spirit guides. You understand? With God herself. So what is for you, all I'm doing is sharing. All I'm doing is putting you on game. That's what I'm doing. I'm putting you on game. Hopefully, I am creating a practice that allows you to sidestep fucking years of bullshit that I had to sidestep, wade through, go right into, learn the hard way, all of that shit. Our spiritual walk, a lot of the time, child, is proliferated with much madness, much bullshit, and much, much, much more patriarchy. And what I'm trying to do is put you on game. What I'm trying to do is put you on game. I have said a million times since I became an official devotee of Ifa, and I have told many, many people considering that walk in Ifa, I'm going to put you on game. What I wish somebody would have told me when I was a brand new devotee, I'm telling you right out the gate. That's what it means to empower human beings. Not with, I had to learn the hard way, so you got to learn the hard way. I'm not with that shit at all. That's the dumbest, most freaking destructive shit I've ever heard. Well, it was hard when I was growing up, so you gotta struggle too. I reject that shit. I reject it. If I can put you on game and make your walk and your spiritual journey much more easy, much less complex, much more bogged down with bullshit, then I'm gonna do that. That's where our responsibility is to do that. So again, What I tell you is based on my lived experience, the lessons that I've learned, whether they have been learned easily or whether they have been learned the hard way, so that your walk and your ascension through that walk is much less complicated. And then when I plant the seeds that I plant within you this evening, whether they take root right away or whether it's not until 5 or 10 years down the line, you be like, damn, that sister did say that all them years ago. I wish I would have listened then. Because sometimes shit don't take root right away. You feel me? You know, I recognize, I get it. I get it. I don't have a penis. I have breasts. I got a uterus. And sometimes that shit makes it very difficult for you guys to receive what I have to tell you. You understand? I get it. I understand. I'm well aware that if I had a little charisma, you feel me? I had a little goatee and shit. You know what I'm saying? If my motherfucking pectorals were bulging out of the top of my shirt and shit, it would make it much more easy for you to receive spiritual intervention coming from me if I had a penis. I get it. And so it might take some of you a little bit longer for this shit to take root. And that's okay. It ain't no harm, no foul. Don't cause me no stress. All I'm here to do is put you on game. You feel me? So that being said, again, for those of you who have entered in a little late or may not know what I'm talking about, I am going to tell you, I'm going to teach you some things about how to approach this lunar eclipse. We're already in the energy of this lunar eclipse. You know, you're 24 hours before, your day of, and you're 24 hours after. This is, you know, the tide, the peak and ebb of your any astrological, movement, especially a lunar event. So we already in it, and I've already been purposeful in my day about my approach to it. You understand about the care I've taken for myself, about the time I've taken for myself, about my bath this morning, about my hair today. I've been very deliberate in every moment today. Okay. So I want to talk to you about this moon. So for those of you who are entering late, tomorrow, October 28th, Saturday, October 28th, 2023, is a lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse is also known as a blood moon. It is when the shadow cast by Earth on the moon from the sun creates the illusion that the moon looks like blood. I love that. Okay. Lotus Flower say, I don't ever know what to do other than what I want to do. That's a good start. That's a good start. That's a good start. That's what you call trusting your flesh, trusting your blood, trusting your bone, trusting your damn DNA. That's a good start. Like I said before you came up on the call, when I was a new, young Black nationalist, because I was proliferated with ideas and information that was false and it was fucking me up, I was like, okay, how do I make this easy? Whatever white people say, I take the opposite position and I'm probably correct. I'm probably better off. Whatever the white world say, I take the opposite position. I'm probably better off. That's the good starting point. Right now, as a magical radical, as a radical witch, you know what I'm saying? My position now is whatever the world says as consensus narrative around the practicing of magic, the administration of power, I'm taking the opposite position because all this shit is proliferated by patriarchy. That's my position, especially where these astrological events are, especially where these astrological events are concerned. I'm taking the opposite position. They tell me, like I said, I have had so many, let me just give you an example. I used to go very religiously to get readings from Babalaos when I was neck deep in the practice of Ifa. I would go to Babalaos, I would get readings, you know what I'm saying? I would get, the Elbaz done, whatever. So many male and female priests in that tradition have told me, even before my head was red, have told me you shouldn't wear red. Any version of red. You can't wear red. This would have been a taboo for me. Right? You can't wear red, any version of red, at all. Not magenta, not burgundy, not mahogany, none of that shit. You can't wear no version of red. And without questioning, I had a priest call me at midnight from Chicago. I was living in Florida. I asked her to do a written reading for me. So I sent him a 411. She said, give me about a week. I'm going to do the reading for you. I'm going to type it out and I'm going to send it to you. So I sent her my information. She in Chicago. I ain't never met her. Never, to this day, I've never met her. I've only talked to her that one time on the phone. Sent her my 411. Midnight, that same night, she called my phone. She's like, wake up. I was like, what's going on? I said, she was like, it was important enough for me to call you this late. So get up, be clear out your bed, get up. I was like, okay. So now I'm scared. You feel me? She said, you're sleeping in red bed dressing, aren't you? I was like, rust red bed sheet, rust red quilt, rust red pillowcases, rust red with gold threading all through it. I was like, how did you know that? She was like, get up out your bed right now. Tear all that shit off your bed. The sheets, the linens, the quilt, the pillowcases, everything. Take it off your bed. So now I'm shook. She done woke me up at midnight. I'm brand spanking new in the tradition. I ain't even been in the tradition 6 months. I was like, oh my God, how she know that shit? I ain't never even seen the woman's face. Okay? She's like, get up out the bed, tear all that shit off your bed. Put it in a trash bag and either give it away or put it in the garbage. But you cannot sleep in that shit. So you got to find something else to sleep on. If you got any night clothes that are red, you put them in the bag with them bed linens. You cannot sleep in red, especially, but you cannot wear red, cannot wear any version of red. Your daughter can't wear any version of red. I'm like, her school colors are red, black, and white. Like, how's she gonna not wear red? You feel me? And she said, change your bed linens. She said, now once you change your bed linens, get your ass in the shower. Wash your hair. This is at midnight, y'all. She said, wash your hair, wash your face, wash every square inch of your body before you put on new clothes and get in the bed. She said, you have a cat, don't you? I said, what the fuck? And of course I had a cat. I had a black cat. His name was Zari. She was like, you have to put your cat outside for a little while. I said, I can't put my cat outside. My cat is an indoor cat. The little neighborhood cats will kill my cat. You know what I'm saying? She was like, baby, you're going to have to put your cat outside. Now, whether you need to get a gate for him or whatever, it's only going to be temporary. Because tomorrow, you're going to have to do this whole ritual on your house. You're going to have to close all the windows and doors in your house. You're going to have to do this thing to your house. And then you have to open up all the windows and the doors, whatever. And then you can bring your cat back in. She said, this shit, I forgot about this reading until I'm telling y'all this shit now. She said, you live nearby a graveyard, don't you? I was like, what the fuck? I lived 3 blocks from the oldest graveyard in Tampa at the time. Literally 3 blocks from the oldest fucking graveyard in the city. She was like, you walk, right? You don't have a car right now, right? Yeah, I said, I'm on the bus right now. She just straight reading me. She's like, okay, you're going to have to take a different route. I was like, but the bus stop is literally right in front of the graveyard. She was like, you're going to have to take a different route or catch a different bus, but you can't walk nearby around graveyards. Can't help where you live, but you're far enough away where you don't see the graveyard, right? I was like, yeah. She was like, all right, fine. She was like, but you can't walk by, be near graveyards, right? I was like, fuck. And what I guess the reason I got on that tangent, but I have to write that story because I hadn't even thought about that reading until just now. And so for a long time, I took that taboo extremely seriously about not wearing red, any version of red, any kind of red, no shade whatsoever. And then several readings, including the reading that I got to have my head read finally to say that Oya sits on my head and Shango owns my heart. Red came up again as a taboo for me, right? It's not until maybe 3 years ago that I started questioning my taboos. And I know that's really taboo in the tradition. I know somebody's going to have something to say about that in the tradition. That I started questioning that taboo. And the reason I started questioning that taboo is because I know the true meaning of the color red. I know the true power of the color red, and the true meaning and the true power of the color red, even prior to its association with sexuality. So, like right now, even when I'm doing the research for tonight, every single solitary site I read associated the red of the blood moon with war, with death, with the war god, Mars. Every single one. Witchy, Christian, didn't matter. Everybody associated the blood moon with the god of war, with death, with all things scary. Sex is a big thing with the color of red, but even prior to its association with sex or sexuality, and subsequently its association with red, with war, its original foundational significance is the red of the blood of the mother's womb. Okay? That is what I chose to resonate with. That my beingness in this lifetime as female, my beingness as a possessor of a portal inside my body, you understand, that is and has been called the lower palace by the ancients for 6,000 years, right? That holds the red flower, the sacred red lotus. I was like, yep, I'm going to have to reject that. I'm going to have to reject that. I'm going to have to reject this taboo of my wearing red. I'm going to have to reject that. And I'm going to have to be okay with that rejection, right? So I started wearing red a lot, more than I did before I got the taboo. You feel me? So when I went up on that mountain, knowing this taboo that I have, that has been placed on me anyway, knowing that red elicits a cringe factor in a lot of people still, right? Baby, I went up. Y'all saw the picture on my Facebook page. It's my profile picture of that brilliantly red, metallic-y, shiny ass red dress. I put on the most outlandishly vibrant red dress I could find, because I got a lot of red dresses in my closet now. And went right up on that hill with my high heels on, my red dress on, my Sekhmet earrings on. These ain't it. These are my Dia de los Muertos earrings. These are my skull earrings. My red dress and my brilliant red Sekhmet earrings on, intent on doing work on that motherfucking mountain. And I'm telling y'all this because I've talked to y'all 30 times at least about what happened on that mountain here in Hollywood on the solar eclipse 2 weeks ago, when everybody is telling all you powerful human beings, all you witches, all you new witches, all you wizards, all you powerful human beings, stay your ass at home. Don't look up. Don't look at the sun. You know what I'm saying? And all of that shit. They telling you to do that shit, and this motherfucking white ass scientist, a goddamn astronomer, got on the highest peak in this city. The observatory can be seen literally from everywhere in the city. Some people on this website, it's called the Center of Los Angeles. This observatory that looks like a goddamn mausoleum, a freaking cathedral and shit. And he got up on that goddamn mountain with a microphone that you could hear all the way down the mountain. Speakers in every direction. You understand? Performing ritual at the peak of the solar eclipse, attempting to chant down the mother. With the unwitting participation of hundreds of black, brown, red, yellow, and white people. They think it's a joke. Oh, chanting along as he leads a goddamn ritual on the top of this mountain while everybody else is being told, stay your ass at home, don't do no magic, don't do no ritual. Get your ass outside tomorrow and do ritual. Get your ass outside tomorrow and call up the mothers. Get your ass outside tomorrow and affirm. Listen, we don't pray, we affirm. We don't pray, we conspire. At least in the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. We do not pray, we conspire. We do not pray, we affirm what is so. Get your ass out there tomorrow. If you are concerned about the state of the world, pray for the health, the courage, and the strength. Pray. Affirm, conspire to elicit the courage, strength, and health of the women of the world. That's what we say we believe. We say we believe that women are going to change the world. That's what we say. That's what we believe. What is the role of women in the United States? What is the role of women in the West who have a little bit more? We have a little bit more political space that we can move in. We have freed up a little bit more political space. Like, we are not like the women of Palestine, who are literally in a position where from day to day they do not know if they are going to live or die. Their children are going to live or die. We are not in Congo, where we are literally confronted every day with the stark but naked, unveiled, gruesome behavior of patriarchy in real time. We have a little more wiggle room with which to work with, freedom with which to work with. Our responsibility in the West, our responsibility in these places where we have a little bit more space with which we can move, is to call up the space for other women, is to call up the protection for other women, is to conspire on their behalf. Is to conspire on their behalf. I want what I want for myself, but not at the expense of others. Not only not at the expense of others, I want what I want for myself, and I want for myself what I want for everybody on earth, but especially women. What I want for myself, I want for every woman on earth. I mean that shit. Joy, bliss, ecstasy, happiness, ease, safety, rest, wholeness, wellness. Everything I want for myself, I want for every woman on earth. Those of us who have a little bit of democratic space, with which we can manipulate, a little bit of democratic space with which we can wield some fucking power, we have a responsibility to wield that shit on behalf of women around the world suffering at the hands of this bitch. That's what our responsibility is. That is what the mothers are calling on us to do. I get it. Yes, even though we do have a little bit more democratic space with which we can move, we as women in the West, I get it, especially women of color, especially Black women, we still have to endure madness. You understand? We still have to endure aggressions, both micro and macro. I get it. But we do have to acknowledge that we do have a lot more democratic space with which we can wield some shit in our favor. To wield shit in our favor is to embolden the most brutalized women on earth. It is to empower. It is to conspire on their behalf. That's what it means. If we want our lives to be made better, to be made well, we have to pull out the stops. We have to call on our ancestors. We have to call on our emissaries. We have to call on our spirit guides. We have to call on this radical alignment in heaven, baby, to conspire on behalf of our sisters scattered around the world, suffering at the hands of men. Because everything wrong with the goddamn planet right now lays at the feet of men. There is not a problem identifiable on earth that does not have its origins in the malignancy of male egos run the fuck amok on earth. Not a problem. You can't name a problem. Not one, not nowhere, that does not fall at the feet of men. You feel me? So, if you are one of these women on the call right now who have as a matter of fact, I should grab mine. If you have a practice of capturing your moon blood and you have some moon blood already saved or stored, pull it out. Pull it out. Charge whatever work you're doing, enhance it with that moon blood. Now you can dilute it. There's some people talk about diluting it 1 part moon blood to 9 parts water. If that's what you want to do, cool. I don't really do that. I use really potent. I do dilute it, but I don't dilute it that much. I use really potent amounts of my moon blood when I do ritual, depending upon what that ritual is. When I make offerings, I offer raw, undiluted moon blood to the earth, to the water, whatever the source is that's requiring at the time, whether it's ocean water or whether it's river water or whatever. You feel me? Tomorrow is the day to pull out your moon blood if you've been saving it or sitting on it or trying to figure out what to do with it. Okay? So I don't want to get off too far, but I did want to say that. Like, tomorrow is a motherfucking power update. If the full moon in and of herself is a manifestation day, right? You always do manifestation rituals on the full moon. You write your abundance checks. You know what I'm saying? You take and light your abundance checks in the light of the full moon so that the smoke, as you can see, goes up into heaven, sending the prayer of this abundance that you're requiring on the check into heaven. You feel me? You do, like I've been taught about, like milk rituals or open wallet rituals or open purse rituals in the light of the full moon. Cool, whatever. The general synopsis is that the light of a lunar eclipse, which is actually kind of brilliant tonight because we're still inside that 48-hour on both sides of the peak of the moon. So you can do a lot of your work tonight too, by the way. Because I've already got all my crystals and shit outside on my balcony charging, right? But this moon, the power of an eclipse is, and some people say 10 times the power of a regular full moon. Some people say 1,000 times the power of a regular full moon. Why would you not tap into that? Why would you let somebody tell you don't do no rituals on the blood moon? Why would you? That's big energy. If you have the greatest of intentions, if you know the purity of your heart, if you know that the work that you do or the things that you do in the world are for the greater good of mankind, of womankind, for the greater good of the whole, if your heart is aligned with the will of the mother, what you got to fear by getting this work in on the opportunities that she presents to you? This is an opportunity she has presented to you. The mothers. So that is what I would say. That is what I will be doing with the women that I call into space tomorrow. We are going to be conspiring on behalf of the enormous, radical amount of women suffering on Earth. That's what we're going to be doing. We are going to listen now. You have me tell it. I'm calling out all the dark mothers tomorrow. Okay. When we were doing the reading today in Pure Lust, and she talked about the goddess Nemesis, I was like, oh, how could I forget her? Yes. Now let me tell you the story I wanted to tell you earlier when we were reading about Nemesis, the goddess of vengeance in Pure Lust today. And I was like, oh my God, I have a story. I talk to y'all all the time about this astrologer that I really, really like. Her name is Tanya Gabrielle. I like her so much. She's so positive, so upbeat. I watch different astrologers because I like some realism. I like some optimism. I like some doom and gloom. You feel me? I like it all. But she's a very huge optimist. She works a lot with numerology. She calls herself an astronumerologist. I like her. I was listening today on her little short feed about the lunar eclipse tomorrow. And she kept saying, yes, dark moon Lilith, come the fuck through. That's what we're talking about. But she was talking today, and typically I feel like everything she says is right on point. Like, yes. Come on through, Tanya. Today I was like, I reject that. Nope. I reject that. I reject it. What she talked about was how Venus, like I told you guys earlier, Venus has actually dominated the solar eclipse and this lunar eclipse. The solar eclipse happened in the sign of Libra, and the lunar eclipse is happening in the sign of Taurus, both of whom their planet is Venus, right? Plus, the solar eclipse was preceded by the 4th of July, which is Venus's domain, right? So, Venus, I'm going to answer this question because I knew it was going to come up. And I might have to school y'all real quick. But I'm going to put your question up so everybody else can see too. For those of you tuning in on IG, the question was, how do you get vengeance without it backfiring on you? We're going to have a conversation about that. So anyway, Tanya Gabrielle was talking about the blood moon energy and how to prepare and what to look out for, this, that, and the other. And she talked about how the goddess Venus, Inanna, Ishtar, right? Oshun, how Venus is about love and is about, is about peace and joy and, romance and all of those things, pleasure, beauty, right? The arts, music, like that's all Venus's domain, right? And then the fact that we're still heavy in this Pluto energy, okay? Because this eclipse is happening on a numerologically on a number 9 day. That's Oya. Oya, as Pluto right now, is still 27 degrees Capricorn, which reduces to the number 9. Again, Oya. And so Oya, represents freedom, justice, courage, right? And so she was talking about how, these represent kind of two extremes. First of all, she said these represent two extremes: justice, peace, courage, justice, freedom, and courage represents like an extreme of trust, peace, love, and pleasure. I was like, no, they don't. No. That was one of the things. That's not it. Those are not opposites. These things, trust, peace, love, and pleasure, cannot truly exist in their true form without first freedom, justice, and the courage to galvanize freedom and courage. These things, what did I tell y'all a few days ago? Don't nobody on earth, nobody, nowhere on the whole of the planet know what true love feels like. None of us know what true love feels like. None of us have never experienced it. None of us on earth knows what true happiness feels like. Not one person on the whole of the planet, nowhere, knows what true happiness feels like or looks like. Why? Because how can perfect love and perfect trust and perfect peace and perfect happiness exist on a planet that is dominated by oppression and exploitation? All you can do is love within the context of exploitation, within the environment dominated by those things. You can love your family, but even that is infected by oppression and exploitation. You can't love your children the way you should be able to love your children because you're constantly at war with how you're going to eat, how you're going to feed your kids. You got to go to work when you don't want to. Your flesh wants to sleep, but your head was like, bitch, get up because you got to go to work because you got to feed your kids. And if you don't feed your kids and you don't go to work, then you and your partner are going to have problems because money is always an issue. None of us know what love looks like. None of us. We can imagine it, but we can't understand what it looks like until the world is made well, right? And so when she's talking about that was the first thing I rejected, right? Was this idea that somehow love, peace, trust, and pleasure can exist outside of or in some kind of opposition to freedom, justice, and courage. Problematic, right? But then she was like, it's very easy for us, especially with these other energies that are at play, Mars and Mercury in Scorpio, right? We're in Scorpio now. These, if they're not healthy acquisitions of justice, can kind of spill over right can kind of Asia can kind of spill over into vengeance or revenge, and we have to be really careful because we don't want the acquisition of justice to spill over into revenge or vengeance. Because vengeance or revenge is not based in love. And I was like, I reject that too. I reject that. I reject that. Love does not want revenge. Love does not want vengeance. I reject that. I reject that. I reject that. I reject that. That's why I was fucked up when we were reading that thing today, and then I had just heard Tanya Gabrielle talking about her opposition to vengeance, her opposition to revenge, or whatever. But it's that thing I've been talking to y'all about for a few months now, about how in the mind of the oppressor class, everything is violence. They equate the violence of the oppressor with the justice-seeking behavior of the oppressed. Just like what's happening in Israel and Palestine, you could somehow equate the two as both being violent. No, you cannot equate the two as being violence. Violence is the weapon that's being held with a hegemony by those that have power and can impose in a top-down hierarchical way of violence. And the response to that violence is justice. It's not violence. It's justice. It's not violence. It's justice. It's not violence. It's justice. You see. And I am of a certain belief that there are certain crimes nobody in their right mind would say, like she said today, people, who commit wrongs or do wrongs to other human beings, what we really need to do is, administer a level of compassion. Nope. Nobody in their right mind, even her, if I had the ability to interject on that thing she did and say, would you extend compassion to Hitler? Like, would you just try to understand where he was coming from and what made him do what he did? Would you be talking about his psychology and what happened to him with a child when he was a child that made him commit this act of violence against the Jews? Would you be trying to put him in a jail to understand what kind of trauma happened to him in his childhood or in his adolescent period to, make him do what he did? No, y'all put his ass in front of the firing squad and he understood that. That's why he offed himself. There wouldn't have been no discussion. Y'all put his ass in front of the firing squad or put him in a goddamn electric chair or whatever. It would not have been up for debate. But now all of a sudden we are confronted by not just one Hitler who is in the grave, but multiple equally diabolical, more insidious, not obvious Hitlers, multiple Hitlers running the face of the planet, murdering, whether through forced labor or sex slavery or any number of murders occurring in different ways on this planet, levying this shit out on women and children predominantly. Everywhere. There are 3, quote, active genocides happening right now. Who is bearing the brunt of these actions? Women and children. Would you demonstrate compassion to the perpetrators of these genocidal assaults on women and children in the Congo, in Sudan, in Somalia, in Israel, in Palestine? Huh? No, fuck out of here. No, vengeance is just. Vengeance is just. That's why there's so many stories in our mythologies about the mothers being the executors of vengeance. Oh, in every story, in every culture, it is not the male deities who are the executors of vengeance move. It is the females. It is the mothers who are the executors of vengeance. It is the Furies. It is Nemesis. It is Lilith. It is Oya. It is Sekhmet. It is Oshun. It is Yemaya. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. It is Pele. It is Kali. Why? because they are the givers of life and therefore they are the takers of life. Get out of line hard enough. Get out of line hard enough, and we'll just pull you on out of here, baby, and give you a go the next go round. Maybe you can get it right in your next incarnation, but you can't be here now. This is the energy we got to call on. This is the energy that we have to call on. I've been telling y'all stories for days. For days. The damn documentary. Oh, her name is Swoop. The sister I was telling you about yesterday who did the little expose on Shein, the company Shein. Her YouTube name is SWOOP, or you can do at Petty University. Petty University. But she did an explosive, wonderfully well researched expose on Shein. And the whole time I am watching this, and the whole time she's talking about this Chinese man and his diabolical behavior, all I am thinking about is the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands upon thousands of women and children working in factories making 3 cents a goddamn hour. But y'all don't see this as genocidal shit. That's genocidal. That he refuses to buy cotton except from this one place in China that is notorious for using Uyghurs to work the goddamn cotton fields for free. This 2023, we talking about motherfuckers working on slave plantations in cotton fields in 2023 for free. That's the only place he'll get his cotton from. But y'all don't call this genocidal. You understand? Women working 12 to 16-hour days, having 2 days off a month, making 3 cents an hour. But that ain't genocidal. Yes, goddammit. When I go out there tomorrow in these motherfucking trees tomorrow, on this motherfucking mountain tomorrow, with whatever witch I can grab up in such short notice, this is the fucking shit that I'm on. I am going to write my conspiracy on paper today, because I told you, we don't pray, we conspire. God damn it, we don't pray, we affirm. And we are attempting to wake the sleeping mother out this bitch. That's all I'm interested in. We are attempting to wake the sleeping dragon up out this bitch. And hopefully she can rain brimstone and fucking fire and damnation on every institution erected in the Father's name. God damn it. That's what I'm calling for. That's what I'm calling for. Every business, every company, every corporation, every government, every religious institution created in the image and the name of the Father, may she rain unholy hell on that shit. Nothing less will do. Nothing less will do. And when we emerge from the ashes of said destruction, the world will be made right. Child. Anyway, okay. Now this is the work y'all got to get out there and do. Now pull out your motherfucking moon blood, pull out your crystals, bring your ancestors out, carry a couple of goddess fixtures with you, go out. Even if you just got to go out in your front yard, baby, and sit up under an elder tree. You feel me? Take your ass outside under that moon tomorrow night and get this motherfucking work in. I conspire with every woman on earth to make right everything made wrong by males and the Father left to run amok on this bitch. I conspire. I will it so that every woman have the freedom and the safety and the security and the sanity to raise whole humans. What else do we want? What else could we possibly want? What else could we possibly want? God damn it. Yeah, I want money. Yeah, I want the house of my dreams. Yeah, I might like a boo someday. I don't know. I'm more and more leaning away from that. The longer I'm celibate, the longer I'm like, this is actually kind of a thing. You understand? But I digress. You understand? Yes, I want the ease of knowing that my bills are paid. Yes, I want abundance in my immediate life. But let me tell you something. With the way the world is, it is getting more and more uncomfortable, more and more difficult to want those things for yourself while the world falls apart around us and we know that we are not pulling out the stops our magical selves have the ability to pull out. Who we gonna blame if the shit does not go our way? Did we conspire regularly with our emissaries to flip this shit right side up? Did we do that? Or did we just constantly do manifestation rituals so that I can keep my bills paid? Manifestation rituals, ayahuasca journeys, so I can have minuscule breakthroughs and epiphanies about my life and love? Oh my God, I cannot. I cannot. Now I know I'm a little bit rough around the edges. I get it. I can be a little bit of a renegade. I dig it. But I done told y'all, so I keep it butt naked and playing with y'all all the time. I do not give a fuck about anything in life other than playing my peculiar role in transforming the world into a world that the mother intended it to be, heaven on earth for all those she created. I don't care about nothing the fuck else. Nothing. If it does not factor into that. If it does not factor into that role, if it does not factor into that future, I do not give a fuck about it. I don't care. I don't. And that's the place that we have to be. We women, we others, we melanated people, we allies, we males who actually give a damn about the future. These are the lines that must be drawn, man. This is the side that we must take. There is no middle area. There is no fence to ride. There is no fence to ride. We have to make a proclamation in the world that we will do whatever the fuck it takes to make the world well. Every single time you close your eyes in meditation, you better be meditating for the world made well. And the world cannot be made well on some kumbaya shit. The world cannot be made well. I'm sorry. The world cannot be made not watching the shit we watch. Not watching the shit we watch. What is happening around the world right now? Terrorizing children and no. Kumbaya is not going to get it done. Peace is not the opposite of war. Justice is the opposite of war. Justice is the opposite of war. Justice is the opposite of war. This is the proclamation that we must make. Justice. Divine justice. Issued by the mothers on the terms that the mothers set. That is it. Men cannot disseminate justice. It is impossible. It is impossible for men to disseminate justice. The mothers disseminate justice and men execute our goddamn will. That's it. That's the only role that you can play. You don't get a say. You don't get an opinion. All you can do is execute the mother's will. If you want to be in alignment with the mother's will, that's all. Shut your damn mouth and execute the mother's will. Women, mothers, grandmothers are the disseminators of justice. Justice is what we say. Justice is what we define. For those of you tuning in through IG, this IG be real fickle with me these days, you feel me? So they trying to block me off cut me off in about 18 seconds. So I'll come back on if you want to rejoin, because I still have to teach you how to set up your ancestor altar. So as soon as it's over, I'll just log back in to do another live. Then y'all on the other avenues, just bear with me. So I'm just going to type this in really quick. do a new live on IG so they get this 411, and then I'll stop ranting and we'll we'll go ahead and teach you guys how to set up your altar so you can consecrate your altar in the moon tomorrow. It's water. Okay. So I'll just do that in a second. Yeah, so I have some, in the meantime, while I'm trying to get this thing back up on IG, I will show you. So I hope y'all can rock with me. I mean, I know I was going a little hard. I want to answer T's question. T's question was, how do you get vengeance without it backfiring on you? I have a position about that. Okay, so hopefully it won't take very long. There were quite a few people tuning in through IG, but listen, so just to reiterate, for those of you who might be tuning in from IG, we had a question. The question was, how do you get vengeance without it backfiring on you? So what I am talking about when I talk about divine vengeance, when I talk about justice as issued out by the mothers, when I talk about utilizing our ashe, the power that comes from our heart chakra through our throat chakra and springs out of our mouth like a living entity. You understand? Rituals and being able to use your rituals to so I say conspire a lot. And so for those of you who have not been tuning into my page for months, conspiracy is the word that I use, right? As a matter of fact, she uses spiration a lot in the book that we're reading currently, Pure Lust. But conspiracy literally means what? To breathe together to ensure a certain result. To breathe together to ensure a certain result. And this is the etymology of the word. And the example used is multiple people in an orchestra breathing into their instruments one song. They all have different parts. They all have different instruments, but it is one song that is produced. Each piece of sheet music guarantees a definitive result. So when we conspire, when we cast spells, when we do affirmations, we are conspiring. But are we conspiring together? We do our individual affirmations, our individual meditations, our little spells and stuff that we do in our house by ourselves or at a tree by ourselves. It's one of the things I'm talking to y'all about a lot these days. There are too many powerful women in this country, too many powerful witches in this country working in isolation. That ain't it. It's nice. It helps you focus your energy. It helps you hone in on your practice. But baby, conspiracy is the coming together, the breathing together in one accord to ensure a certain result. That's why I say we don't pray, we conspire. You understand? We are conspiring to change the world. We are conspiring to end white supremacy. We are conspiring to end the age of oppression. We are conspiring to wake the mother, to stir her and put her back into a position of power, her dominion over this planet. This is what we're conspiring to do. Those of us who hold portals in our bodies, have the added energy to ensure that our conspiracy is fulfilled. This is the power that we have. This is why it has been so essential to sleep women, to rock women to fucking a deep coma that we have been in, a goddamn collective spiritual coma. That's why it's been so important. That's why That's why the witch craze. That's why the witch burnings. That's why, all everything that has to do with women is demonized. If you better know it. The target is us. So we have to recognize why the target is us. It's because the power is ours. The power is ours. The most powerful power is ours. Even the Bible says it. Now, in Ifa tradition, we call it the ashe, right? You speak. They say abracadabra. I speak, therefore I create, right? Ashe is this thing. It is this massive amount of power that has the ability to transform abstraction into a physical force. The socialists say when an idea what is the quote, when an idea in the workers becomes a material force, the workers combined, uniting around an idea. Yeah, we need to be free. And then when they adopt and accept that idea together, not singularly, together, it becomes a material force powerful enough to transform empires. Every single solitary thing on earth has a version of it, right? The ancients called it the miasm or the miasma, the spiritual curse spoken out of the mouths of hurt women that can actually travel through generations. A spiritual curse spoken out of the despair and hurt of women. The miasm. Do you understand? The Bible said that I did a whole thing on it called the mother's curse, right? The Bible said that in the acknowledgement of something bigger, something deeper, something more profound that happens when a woman becomes a mother. She's already powerful. Like in Ifa tradition, they say women are born priests. Women are born priests. Males back then only had to get initiated because they had to mimic the power of the birthing process, sitting on the floor with their legs spread open in the birthing position, with the divining table in front of them that looks like a uterus, with a little head on the top that looks like the baby's head's coming out of it. Have you ever even taken notice when you sit at the foot of a babalao, what he's divining on? He's mimicking you. He's mimicking how you already came up in here. You feel me? And so, what was I going to say? Oh, the Bible said the power of a woman once she is transformed from maiden to mother. Ruth, in the Bible, recognizing this power, said, what? The quote is, my mouth is when she gave birth to her son. The moment she gave birth to her son, I got chills telling y'all this shit. The moment she gave birth to her son, she said in ecstasy, my mouth is now enlarged over my enemies. That's in the scripture. That's in your word. That's in your word. That is soon the first thing she said when her child was born, in ecstasy. That's what the Bible says. My mouth is enlarged over my enemies. This is what we have been made to forget. This is what we have been made to forget. And I'm telling you, this is what is being called on us to remember and act upon. Right now, the work is easy. All we need to do is conspire with one another to change the world, to wake the mother, to end oppression, for vengeance, for those who have been wronged by oppression. For vengeance. We are not looking for apologies. We are looking for retribution. I'm clear. I am clear. Even your Bible said what that Bible. I should have did a word tonight. I should have pulled the Bible out on y'all asses tonight. What the Bible say? The Bible says, woe to he who builds his nation on the blood of the innocent. For the only thing that will purify that land. Let's see. Let me not. This is a paraphrase. Woe to he who builds a nation on the blood of the innocent, for the blood will spoil the land. And the only thing that will heal the land is the blood of the oppressor. That's your scripture. That's not my opinion. I got the King James Version Bible up in this bitch. You understand? That's your Bible that says the meek will only be the meek will only be made well when they bathe their feet in the blood of their enemy. That's what your scriptures say. Now, that's what your scriptures say. Now, they teach you all the other bullshit to pacify the fuck out of you, but your scriptures say that the meek will not be made well until they wash their feet in the blood of their enemies. That's what the book say. This is what the book say. Come on, Sarah Phoenix on IG says teachings of only light and only embodying love do not create transformation without accountability of societal trauma. Come on and tell the truth up in here. She said New Age spirituality is another way we are keeping women down from their true power. You missed the word last night, Sarah Phoenix. Hold on, maybe I need to pull this book out on her real quick. Let her catch her up on what we read last night from the great cosmic mother, rediscovering the religion of the earth. What Sister Barbara Moore said last night in 1987. She said this. She said, man, I really want to read this whole thing again. She said, this reputation, okay, she said, let's see. She said, in all these parts of the world that have been ravaged by Western Christian imperialist experience, spirituality has a well-deserved reputation as being an emblem of total hypocrisy. This reputation continues into some New Age or counterculture attempts at spirituality. In particular, many activists undergoing a political burnout have made a 180-degree turn to immerse themselves in apolitical spiritual pursuits, thus reinforcing the euphemistic patriarchal tradition that spirit is above politics. The left hand should know what the right hand is doing, profit 6 days a week, and go to church on Sunday. All being psychological devices to allow people to enjoy the fruits of patriarchal profit systems while avoiding responsibility for their sanguine roots. They all mean don't look too closely at the origins of your wealth, including the wealth of spiritual privilege. Come on. She said, for it is true that all spiritual exercise in the Western world is performed on a massive cushion of wealth. Come on. She say it ain't New Age spirituality. This shit ain't no better than Christianity. Ain't no better than Christianity. Yeah, greetings, everyone. Greetings, Diane. Mama, I cannot pronounce your name. It's Isochi. I hope I didn't butcher that. Yeah, she said this is 1987. She wrote this, and she could have wrote this today. She said, Western biblical spirituality has served to rationalize imperialism. It has simultaneously served to stifle political criticism and activity against imperialism. It has been spiritual to colonize, spiritual to brutalize, and spiritual to plunder, but not spiritual to talk about it. Spirituality has long been reified into upper and middle class euphemistic processes, in which it is considered not polite to discuss the origins of one's wealth. The origins of wealth, of course, are always very bloody. Not nice. And in the name of a refined sensibility, aka spirituality, aka abstractness, the pursuit of bloody truth is discouraged. The paradigm for this class evasion of the blood origins of wealth lies in the patriarchal evasion of the blood origins of life itself. Patriarchy shamelessly colonizes, exploits, and brutalizes the female body, then censors open discussion and criticism of this process in the name of decency, polite society, civilized discourse, and the like. Now, let me tell y'all something. In both cases, the pretense of spirit is used to cover up the fact of blood. Now, what does she just say? She said, patriarchy shamelessly colonizes, brutalizes, exploits the female body, then censors open discussion and criticism of this process in the name of decency, polite society, civilized discourse, and the like. What does that sound like? She wrote this shit in 1987. What does it sound like? What does it sound like? What does it sound like? It had been fucking with me so hard for so long, and I could not articulate it for so long, my frustration with this fucking censorship on all of these social media sites, right? And the censorship seeming to be like, to protect people from being triggered and shit like that. I was like, there is something more insidious happening. It's not about protecting people from being triggered. It's not. This censorship where you can't say certain words online because it's triggering. I am telling you, I know the state. I know the state turns everything inside out, flips everything upside down. And this censoring to me always felt like patriarchal, like state-initiated ways of muting discourse about the horrors of the planet right now. So you can't say rape. You can't say sexual assault. You can't say all of these things because somebody might be triggered, though those things are still happening. They still happen in real time. Here she say it right here. Patriarchy don't give a damn about doing none of this shit. Nobody. Raping and pillaging, to and fro, stealing and colonizing, to and fro. You understand? Doing all kind of terrible shit to people. Lynching and hanging and brutalizing and chastising all the time. Every day, every time we turn around. This shit happening in Israel, Palestine. I'm seeing literal horror movies being played all day, every day on social media. But it's always Palestinian babies and women and shit that I'm seeing in these horror flicks. These goddamn snuff films being played all over the internet right now. You feel me? It don't care about terrorizing the shit out of people with these images. You feel me? But you can't say sexual assault. You can't say that I was the victim of sexual assault. I was the victim of rape, and this is what happened to me. This is why I say I call vengeance on the motherfucker who did this shit. You feel me? Like, you can't say motherfucker and expect to get your page monetized because you're too rough in the mouth and it's not very polite or sensible to talk that way, and it's not very decent. You might offend somebody. And I kept saying, what in the hell is happening right now? What is happening? This is the discord. And baby, she made it plain in 1987. She said, get ready, because there's going to be a time where you are going to be condemned for speaking bluntly about oppression while oppression still remains. While oppression still remains, you just can't talk about it. Huh? What's she saying? It's not polite. What's she saying? Huh? She said here, Christianity has served to rationalize imperialism and simultaneously stifle any political criticism or activity against imperialism. It is spiritual to colonize, brutalize, terrorize, plunder, rape, rob, and pillage, but it is not spiritual to talk about it. I.e., spirituality has long been reified into an upper and middle class euphemistic process in which it is considered not polite to discuss the origins of one's wealth. The origins of one's wealth, of course, are always very bloody. Yes, censorship is a tool of those that are of those in power. Yes. But we play into that shit. We play into that. It's definitely gaslighting and very strategic. Absolutely, absolutely, yes. I don't want to forget this question that the sister asked about vengeance. Let me put that back up here. Yes, it is very gaslighting. A Nazi on American God said, "Anger gets shit done, baby." Baby. Hi, I've been reading the Sibyls with you. Well, you're recorded live. Thanks so much. Absolutely. Yes, Ebony. Thank you so much for listening, because that's a powerful piece. That's a powerful piece. Wealth is always bloody. Yes, especially multi-generational wealth, right? So I won't go off on that too much more, but baby, this is the work. And to know the world is to know what is necessary to change the world, right? To know the world is to know what is necessary to change the world. So I want to go ahead and answer again the sister's question. How do you get vengeance without backfiring on you? So again, I'm not being esoteric, in as much when I talk about the need to elicit the whole idea of conspiracy. When I talked to you just a little while ago about how conspiracy means what, that's why I talked about the miasm. That's why I talked about spiritual pollution. That's why I talked about the scripture. What did Ruth say? As soon as she became a new creature, she became a new being once she gave birth. And based on her understanding as a Hebrew, my mouth is enlarged over my enemies. Huh? This is the effect of the mother's curse. So go back and watch the video that I did on my YouTube channel called The Mother's Curse. My mouth is enlarged over my enemies. We have to be speaking conspiracies into the world in groups. What does the scripture say? Where two or more are gathered in my name, there I am. What did I talk to y'all about earlier this week about the formation of the Godhead? What somebody just mentioned? What's this? American Gods. Is that the name of the show? American Gods? I didn't watch the whole thing because it was too gross for me. It was a little bit over the top. But the essence of this show is about this thing that I've been talking to y'all about for a few weeks now, the creation of the Godhead. What is the Godhead that rules the planet right now? The Godhead is a God of war created by the Roman Empire, subsequently the Holy Roman Empire, subsequently the Holy Roman Catholic Church. You understand? Adopted by Buddhism, adopted by Hinduism, adopted by Judaism, adopted by Islam, adopted by governments. It is a God of war fed on the blood of the many. This is a Godhead that the collective energy, the songs that we sing, you understand? The prayers that we say, my country, 'tis a thee, America the beautiful, whatever the fuck these songs are. This is ritual that gives life to, what did the Bible say? Where two or more are gathered, there I will be. The creation of a Godhead. And the creation of Godhead is old motif, old ancient motif. Before the establishment of any religion, this concept of the formation of the Godhead, where the group come together, and there is something that is palpable in the energy of the group that elicits in song and dance and ritual around fire. When they come together and they enter into trance together through song and dance and ritual around fire, that something emerges from within them together that becomes bigger than them and then feeds them as they feed it. America is a Godhead. America is a Godhead, baptized in blood, birthed in water. You don't think it is? Let me draw y'all a picture. I had this dream the other night about this concept of America as a Godhead with an actual birth ritual. I'm telling y'all, this happened just the other night. So be paying attention to your dreams this week too. So you got over here, we'll call this Europe. And you got over here, Turtle Island, the Americas, whatever, right? The Americas, okay? You got this vast body of water in between the two, you feel me? And you got this thing that has been happening, if you can see. Let me try to move this light a little bit. You got this thing that had been happening for some time in Europe, germinating. You understand? This thing. 900 years of Inquisition is the thing that I'm talking about, right? And in an escape from this 900 years of Inquisition, you have thousands thousands, 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 thousands of ships with people on them leaving Europe like little fucking sperm. See this shit? This water. What do they say? There is believed to be a couple of million black bodies at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Offerings made to the water. And then they seed that shit over here in the Americas and give birth to the new Godhead. And how do they give birth to the new Godhead? The same way your ass is born. How is your ass born? You are held in water. You understand? And then you break your mama open, and at the top of your crown chakra, right here, in the cross that is her fish sign, because your mama is this. Your mama is this when she's giving birth to you. This is what the Jesus fish is based on, by the way. You understand? This is the fish right here. And this is the cross in the fish. Oh, y'all ain't ready for this one. This is the cross in the fish. This is the cross in the fish. This your mama's leg spread open. That's your head coming out of the opening. That is the fish. But is the fish? Is her gluteus maximus down here on the table as the fins. And your head being consecrated in her blood on your crown chakra. These motherfuckers came over here like malignant ass sperms to seed this goddamn land. And the blood that they used to consecrate the head of this malignant bitch is the blood of native people. Is the blood of the indigenous. Is the blood of the indigenous. Tell me these motherfuckers haven't given birth to a godhead. America is a godhead. Consecrated in blood. Baptized in blood. This should inform us of the work that we must do. This should inform. So when I talk about the creation of the Godhead, when I talk about the coming together, that we don't pray, we conspire, that we don't pray, we affirm what is already so. She already making her way back. All we have to do is fall in line. Obey her will. Comply when she say go. When she say word, then how do we know when she say word? First of all, we have to trust our flesh. We have all of us, male, female, all the genders in between, black, white, red, brown, and yellow, and white. We have to trust our flesh. We have to trust that which we have been told we cannot trust. That's just in your head. It's just your imagination. You just think too much. You just scary. All these little things that have taught us over our lifetime to not trust blood and bone, DNA and cells, genetic memory, to not trust our lungs, to not trust our heart, to not trust our kidneys, our liver, our spleen. You understand? Spirit is not apart from the flesh. So that's the first step, is trust your flesh. When I opened by telling y'all about this ritual I'm eventually going to get to for y'all, I said, you don't have to trust me. I'm just trying to put y'all on game. You understand? What resonates with your flesh, trust that. Trust you. Whatever I say to you that resonates with your flesh, keep it, use it, incorporate it into your shit. Whatever I say to you that does not resonate with you, no harm, no foul, and I will not be offended. If it ain't for you, leave it where it is. Trust you. I trust me because I trust God. Why do I say that? Because I am God. I am not apart from her. I am not apart from her. Mother and I are one. Mommy and I are one. I trust me because I trust her. That's it. That's it. I trust me because I trust God. You see. So I trust my flesh. That's why I told y'all. You see this beautiful pink dress I got on? You see these lovely red earrings I got on? I trust me. I trust the mother. I trust what she say. I trust what she says because she tells me in my flesh, baby. She tells me with goosebumps. She tells me when the hairs stand up on my arms. She tells me when I get the tingle in the back of my neck or the butterflies in my stomach. She's like, yes, baby, this is for you. Or if I feel a rejection in my flesh, she's like, that's that bullshit. Sidestep that bullshit. I trust her because I trust me. And I trust me because I trust her. You understand? Mommy and I are one. Mother and I are one. You understand? This is what it means to comply to her will. When you hear someone like me put you on game, you be like, damn, that shit was deep. Is it me? Yeah, I'm awesome. I'm halfway cute to look at. You know what? I clean up pretty nice. Baby, you are moved because she moves you through me. You are moved because she moves you through me. You better recognize. You understand? Let's see. Sarah Phoenix says, I feel activated hearing all of this. My flesh also trusts this message tonight. I asked Goddess to speak to me this morning and came across this. Thank you. Right on. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. That is what I'm talking about. Yes. Come on through. Come on through. This is a reciprocal type thing we got going on here. You understand? Y'all are fed by me. I'm fed by you. We are all fed by her. This is the creation of the Godhead. Now we just have to be able to make this shit a physical thing. We have to be able to get out of our apartments. We have to be able to meet together in space so that we can ensure through ritual and baptism in water and blood that she can re-emerge, baby. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. If you have a uterus, collect your moon blood. It is your currency. It is your wealth. Okay? Collect your moon blood. I wish I would have known. I didn't start collecting my moon blood until I was 44, maybe 43 or 44. I was like, dang, you feel me? Like, shit, I'll be kicking the doors of menopause open in a hot second here. I wish I would have known. Baby, I saved every single droplet of my moon blood. Okay? So it doesn't clot like regular blood. Y'all asking me all manner of questions. So for those of you, okay, so first, for those of you who no longer bleed, the old ancient idea about women in menopause, this is why the Roman Catholic Church attacked elderly women so much more than any other group of women. That's why every witch you see is old and decrepit. They had to go hard on the criminalization of aging women, of the elderly, of women who the ancients believed that once they stopped bleeding, they retained their moon blood in their bodies, which made them way more wiser and way more powerful than other women. That the moon blood made you powerful, right? But once you stop bleeding, they believe that you retained the power of the moon blood in your body. So if you no longer bleed, that's okay. That you still powerful. You still ultimately powerful. Okay? So you are not missing out on anything. You are not. You have a uterus, even if you don't have a uterus anymore. Now let me go into my Chinese medicine brain, my doctor brain. For those of you who no longer have a uterus or no longer have your ovaries, right? Do not fear, do not fret, because you, dear, still have the uterine vessel. So in Chinese medicine, those born with uteruses have one extra channel that people not born with uteruses do not have. It is called the bowel line, the uterine vessel, which connects the lower jiao with the heart through the Minmin fire. and the heart, controlling the throat, controlling the tongue, more specifically than the throat, the tongue, and governing the conscious and subconscious mind, the heart. You, portal possessing human, even if these motherfuckers have taken your portal, your physical portal, you still have the energy and the essence of the portal in the bow mind. So fret not. You still are a powerful, powerful, powerful human being. Okay? And everybody has ashe, though women with uteruses, people born with, let me put it that way, people born with uteruses have the most powerful ashe on earth. According to according to E5, the most powerful ashe on earth is through people who possess portals in their bodies when they incarnate. And I ain't always been a woman. I've not always been a woman. I've had dreams of my past lives as a man. So I don't know why people but we don't teach anybody anything about reincarnation. That's why people get so locked in and so hogtied about their personification in this life in a way that has them like grieving or, challenged or whatever. I concur, my spirituality and insight has powered up to the umpteenth degree. I feel that. But I just said, the other thing is what happens, at least according to the scripture and other ideas, is that once a woman is transformed from maiden to mother, once a woman gives birth, her ashe is just through the roof. It's over the top. She becomes a new entity when she becomes mother. She becomes a new creature when she becomes mother. So, yeah. And then I'm convinced, being a grandmother, that she becomes even more powerful. The most extraordinary, moving thing that has ever happened to me in my life that nobody could have prepared me for or thought to prepare me for was watching my daughter give birth to my granddaughter. That shit fucking changed me. I felt it in my body in an instant. That shit changed me. It changed me. And I never thought anything could compare to giving birth to my daughter. Watching my baby give birth to her first child fucking transformed me. You understand? This is where power is. This is why they want to dominate in all spaces that are governed by us. This is the thing that they envy and try to recreate and emulate. You see. Now I'm really going to stop with all of that now, because I've been on here longer than I intended to be. So let me just tell you, tomorrow, I have been doing a lot of readings for a lot of people this week. I am making myself available to do readings throughout the day tomorrow. Tomorrow is an extraordinary and an awesome and wonderful day to get a reading. Tomorrow, thank you, Rev Brianna Lynn. I appreciate you so much, by the way. I watch your videos quite often, Rev Brianna Lynn. And I'm still trying to make my way up to where you at. So just know that. It's my vehicle is the thing that is challenging right now. I can't go up mountains right now. So anyway, I was going to say, so that is one thing. So if you are interested in getting a reading with me, I am doing 30-minute and 1-hour readings tomorrow and Sunday. Now, I will remind you that Sunday is the day that we do our weekly temple service, the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. We do our regular temple service at 11 a.m. every Sunday morning. So I will be facilitating temple service at 11 a.m. Sunday morning. That temple service usually lasts about 2 hours. But after that, I will be doing readings Sunday and Saturday. Both days are really good. Actually, the next 4 days, truth be told, because we've got tomorrow, we've got Sunday, which is still within the energy of the blood moon. I am in the Pacific Standard Time, Sarah Phoenix, but I do readings for whomever, So what I'm going to tell you is, if you want to get a reading with me, email me tonight at releaseheartcenter@gmail.com, and I will send you the information on how to book an appointment and all of that stuff. releaseheartcenter@gmail.com. releaseheartcenter releaseheartcenter@gmail.com. Make sure to email me right away so I can start booking your appointments throughout the day tomorrow and throughout the day Sunday. But next week we have Halloween or Samhain for those who are about that life. We have November 2nd, which is Dia de los Muertos. Also, the month of November is governed by Oya, who owns my head. You understand? So the whole month of November, the whole Scorpio season is a really underrated and radical time to get readings, to get your life on point. You feel me? But especially these next 5 days. The next 48 hours in particular, but the next 5 days are really, really great days to get readings, especially since I'm going to teach you guys very quickly how to set up an ancestral altar. So that's what I was getting to. I've been doing a lot of readings for people this week, and so many similarities in these readings have been coming up and have been repeating, and it's not that far-fetched. Oya, as Pluto, stationed direct on the 1010 portal on August 10th. Oya, as Pluto, governs the underworld, is responsible for our ability to communicate with our ancestors. She governs the veil that everybody's talking about, the veil things. She governs that. That's her shit. She owns that, right? So she's stationed direct after 6 months in retrograde motion, and she has come to call us to task. And part of that is doing ancestral work. So if you do not have an ancestral altar, this is what I am telling a lot of people that I've been reading for this week, because their ancestors are coming through their readings. Shit is crazy this week. People's ancestors are coming through their readings like tap, 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 tap. Tell her this. Tap, tap. And I do not profess to be a medium. But even in my medical practice, even as an acupuncturist, that shit happens. I have to be open to receive that. I have to be open to respond to that. Tap, 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 tap. Tell her this. Tap, 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 tap. Tell them that. Right? That's been happening a lot. So I was like, you know what? I need to teach people how to set up a very foundational, basic ancestral altar so that they can have the opportunity to consecrate their own altar with the power and the energy of this moon tomorrow. So this was essentially an hour and a half later why I wanted to do this mini workshop with you guys, okay? Is to teach you very basic foundational way to establish an ancestral altar. You can big it up however you want to down the line, but I'm telling you, I started out with a tiny little $10 wood card table from Walmart, and started working my altar, and right away shit started happening. Undeniable, unmistakable things started happening in my life once I started working my altar. Okay? So that's what I want to give y'all as a gift, is to teach you how to do your ancestral altar. And this is a wonderful opportunity because all the mothers are on deck. All the mothers are on deck. Put this altar out in the light of this moon. If you don't have a balcony or a yard, put it in a window where you can capture some moonlight and consecrate. Let that be the focus of your intention, is to consecrate, is to cover your ancestral altar so that you can start working with your ancestors, because they will move obstacles out the way. They will start, like squatting up on your behalf. Okay? All right. So rudimentary things. You want to get a natural table of some sort. That's why I talk about the $10 card table at Walmart, because it's made out of wood. It's very inexpensive, and it's about yay big, so it can fit into any corner, no matter how big your space is, about this big, right? So get yourself some type of natural table, okay? Wood, clay, glass is acceptable, preferably not metal. So wood, clay, bamboo, things like that. That's the first thing. I hope you're taking notes. Okay. The second thing you're going to need is a white cloth of some type. When I first set up my first ancestral altar, I just got a pillowcase. The white cloth cannot be used. You have to purchase it new. Okay. But I got a white pillowcase from the same Walmart and used that as my white cloth. Okay. You want to have a 7-day plain white candle. 7-day plain white candle. You want to have a clear glass. The plate doesn't have to be clear, but that's what I chose. So, but preferably a clear glass with no prisms in it. You don't want a glass that has the lines that kind of create rainbow prisms. I don't know why, but that's just the way I was always taught. You don't, and I've heard it several places. You don't want a cup or a glass that creates prisms. Okay. So I just got, a clear gap glass and a clear plate to feed my ancestors. And then at the time that I did my first ancestral altar, I didn't have any pictures. Everything was in storage, so I didn't have any pictures of my ancestors. So I just got, here, I'll show you. I got artist paper, because it's kind of like parchment paper. Because ideally you would use something like parchment paper, not lined paper, but something a little more kind of witchy, like parchment paper. So this is like a little artist draft book or whatever. A little artist draft book. But if you can find parchment paper, cool. Get parchment paper, artist draft paper, but no lines. And you can use red or black ink, and your ancestors that their name, their first and last name, you can write them on there. Say you're adopted and you don't know any of your ancestors' names, or you don't have any pictures of your ancestors. Say you're adopted, which I've had when I've counseled people. I've had people say, I don't know my parents, I don't know who they were, whatever. Doesn't matter. Your cells know. Your DNA knows who your ancestors are. Put to all my ancestors known and unknown, or all my benevolent ancestors known and unknown. Be specific. Say benevolent, because you got some ancestors in there that wasn't worth the fuck. You understand? You don't want to call them to the table. You want to call the benevolent ancestors. To my benevolent ancestors, those known and unknown. And just write that on a piece of paper. That will do. Okay? And then when I started, I still have this on my ancestral shrine, though I do have a consecrated ancestor staff now. I should get that. But when I started, you want something that you can call your ancestors to your altar with. So a lot of people use bells, any kind of noise maker, bells, chimes, whatever. In Ifa tradition, sometimes you'll just have a stick that you just bang on the floor to call the ancestors. I'll get my ancestral staff that I had consecrated. That comes later on. That ain't something that you really have to deal with now, but just to show you. So I spent a long time when I was told that I needed to get an ancestor staff to have consecrated when I received my ancestor pots. It took a long time. I found this lovely piece of wood in a swamp in South Carolina, and then I had it consecrated. So this is my ancestor staff, and the reason it's multiple colors is because, again, Oya is the mother of 9. She is the one that helps. She is the reason that we have the ability to communicate with our ancestors. She governs the ancestral realm. She ensures that we transition from the terrestrial realm to the ancestral realm. So when I decorated it, I put emblems on it that are specific to Oya. So you see there are bones on here. So these are spine bones from this owl that I found. She gifted to me when I was driving to Alabama to treat my mother, right? So these are the spinal bones from that owl. Got a macaw feather. I've got a copper, because copper is her color, the copper goddess here. I've got a dragonfly, which is often associated with Oya. So, and then I've got this piece of wood that I found had the perfect little hole in it. And so I put a piece of citrine in the hole and then just bound it, painted it. And then I had my my godmother do the ritual to consecrate it. And then the purpose of this stick is it can travel with you, which it has, and you can do ceremony wherever with your ancestors, and you beat the ground to call your ancestors. You feel me? Okay. So that's that. So those are the rudimentary things that you need. So you need a white candle, you need a glass for water, you need a plate for food, you need a piece of parchment paper to write either the names or the statement that I said. If you don't know the names of your ancestors, because they will still work on your behalf, even if you do not know their faces or their names, they will still work for you because they are still alive in your blood. Okay, so that's it. White table, a natural table, a white tablecloth, unused, and when you first start working your table, so when you set up your altar tomorrow and you put it out in the light of the moon, whether it's in a window or out on your balcony or whatever, take this 7-day candle and you're going to light this candle under that moon. You are going to already have everything prepared, and you're going to have water. You're going to have water in there, and you're going to, if I were you, I would go ahead and put some fruit, like cut an apple, or put some oranges or grapes or something. I would go ahead and, make an offering to your ancestral altar. The other thing I will say that's really, really important, and it's pretty universal. Like everybody I've ever heard talk about ancestral altars say the same thing, that you have two families. You got your mama and them family and your daddy and them family. Feel me? And you don't know when your mama and your daddy made you if there was beef between the families or anything like that. So you have two options. You can have two little ancestor altars, mama side, daddy side, or you, which I have on mine, you have one big table where you have both sides of your family, but you have an obvious energetic barrier or like a barrier between the two. So that's what I have. I have an obvious energetic barrier between my mother's side and my father's side, right? And it's obvious. I use crystals. there is one more thing I wanted to show you. Now, this is further on down the line and not necessary, but it is something that I wanted to add to my shrine. This here is family land. So the homes that my parents were raised in, both my dad and my mom, those homes my grandfathers built with their hands, and those houses are still there. So when I was traveling across the country, I stopped in both towns to get ancestral land. So this is land this is soil, this is earth from my mother's side, the house that she grew up in. This is soil from my family land on my mother's side, and I have soil on my altar from my father's side. That's something that can come later. Maybe we can talk more in the future if you, if you want to go more out on your ancestral altar. But this is what you need to start, and it will start working for you. Okay, so you've got your table, your plate, your cup, water. When you're first starting to work with your ancestral altar, the general rule of thumb is let this candle, once you light it tomorrow, let it burn till it burns out. Don't put it out. Let it burn till it burns out. You don't have to do that forever, but when you first start working with it, put a 7-day candle on it and let it burn out. Do not put it out. If you are concerned, these things never, ever, ever, ever explode or catch on fire. However, there are a lot of people that are pretty neurotic about the safety of 7-day candles, and so they will put like a little extra clear bowl with some water just in the base and sit it just like that, so that it, quote, doesn't overheat or whatever. I have never in 15 years, knock on wood, I have never in 15 years had an incident with a 7-day candle. So that is a decision that you can make, whether you want to put it in additional water just to safeguard it or not. But light the candle, leave it lit. leave that water that you put in the glass for 7 days and switch it out when you first start working with your shrine. Switch it out every 3 days, at least for the first 30 days that you're working with your altar. The second thing is you want to leave the food on the plate. I'd say no more than 3 days, 1 to 3 days, depending upon what it is. You don't want it to start attracting like animals, like flies or bugs or anything, and you definitely don't want it to start to rot. So I never leave anything more than 2 days, but the general rule of thumb is 1 to 3 days. When you are disposing of the water from the cup and the food from the plate, I do not pour the water down the drain. To me, it's a waste of the water because there's energy that's happening. There's an energetic exchange that's happening with water. I always take the water from my altar and water my plants with this water, or give it back to the earth or whatever. But I always, I'm meticulous about how I use that water. And the same thing with the food. I think I told y'all that this last week. I started making offerings to Hecate about a year ago. Whenever I remove food from the shrine, I bag it up and I go out to a crossroads or I go out to a tree and I offer it to Hecate, however y'all deem to pronounce her name. You can do that to whomever you want. If you want to offer it to the mothers, if you want, that can be anybody to you, depending upon your culture or your background. It is the IyapoNgina for me. You can offer it to the IyapoNgina. I offer it to Hecate because she specifically enjoys as an offering your refuge, your scraps, your scrap food, you're like if you cut an onion, all your little scraps food, save them and give them as an offering to Hecate because she is interested in feeding her babies. Her babies are all the things that we don't really give props to: maggots and earthworms and gnats and bugs and flies and all of that stuff. They need to be fed too because they have a role in the grand scheme of things. And so that's what she governs. She wants you to take care of her babies. So give up your scraps of food to her as an offering. So when I remove the food that my ancestors are no longer consuming off my ancestral shrine, I will bag it up and I will take and offer it to Hecate at the crossroads or at an old tree. Okay? So that's that. Use this information and really use this opportunity. So like I'm going to dismantle my shrine, my altar tomorrow and put my my crystals on my altar out in the moon. So use this opportunity to power up, to consecrate your own altar. You don't consecrate your own altar, okay? What else? Put water out. If you want to collect moon water, like I said, for me, I take the opposite position. You don't want to put water out in a blood moon. I want all the power. I want to be powered up as much as I can. I'm putting water out tomorrow to make moon water. I am doing this ritual tomorrow out in the trees somewhere. You feel me? Yes, power up. Put your crystals out in the moon. Especially if you're doing energetic work, put your crystals out in the blood moon. If they talk about it's 10 to 100 times the power of a full moon, put your crystals, especially those crystals you carry on your person, your black tourmaline, your obsidian, your crystal quartz. Yes, you want to power that stuff up if you put your hands on people or you doing readings for people. Can the altar be moved? I don't live alone and my sister doesn't know I practice. I just don't want her asking questions and telling my religious mother. Okay. Yes, your altar can be moved. Yes, by the way, that's the first answer to your question. Yes, your altar can be moved. Your altar, I have carried, because I traveled for 6 weeks in my car, I had my altar in my car. When I would camp, I would place my cloth on the ground. I would erect my altar outside my tent. And for however many days, 1 to 3 days that I'm camping, my ancestors would be propped up right outside my tent. So yes, your altar can be mobile. And then the other thing I wanted to be clear about, T, just to revisit, because I know I've said a lot. about the backfiring vengeance thing, that is nothing you need to be worried about, in my estimation, in my opinion. I do not worry, because what did I say? Vengeance, even revenge, it depends on where your heart is. That's what I said. Your heart, what are your intentions? You want to get revenge on somebody, on some woman because she was looking at your boo, then you did wrong, and you will get some blowback from that, because that energy is fucked up. You understand? If you are looking for vengeance for your great great grandfather, who you know the clan pulled out of his house and hung from a tree, that is justice. That is justice. There is no blowback for the demand of justice. Man, how is this damn IG stopping again? You guys on IG, I would really encourage you to tune in on my YouTube channel, which is at Daughter of the Fates. At Daughter of the Fates. I do not know why this IG keeps stopping, but it's about to stop in 10 seconds. So I'm only going to be on here a few minutes longer, but if you want to tune back in, at Daughter of the Fates on my YouTube channel, log in there, like, subscribe, and share. Yeah. So that's nothing I would worry about. If you have, like, there's a lot of people in these traditions, in Voodoo and Ifa and Condoble, who have sinister, fucked up intentions with magical work. You understand? That's nothing I'm interested in. I'm not interested in harming humans, for sinister reasons or anything like that. When I talk about revenge, when I talk about vengeance, I'm talking about justice. I am talking about an obvious, horrible, lopsided display of oppression versus justice in the world, and that's what I'm looking to rectify. And the mothers are on board with us for that. So we don't incur any blowback. There is no danger for us to be calling on the mothers to execute vengeance. There is not. There is not. And that dumbass shit motherfuckers be doing, casting love spells on motherfuckers and shit like that, or I don't know, just dumb shit. That ain't even in my cipher. That ain't even on my radar. That ain't no shit I'm interested in. You know what I'm saying? So it has to be about what you got going on in here. And like, that's why I gave the whole long diatribe in the beginning about what it is we need to be conspiring to create. What it is we need to be conspiring for when we go to the mothers, when we seek the mothers. We are conspiring to make well all these women who are being harmed by this system, to power up these women in these places where men dominate and they bear the brunt of it. You feel me? So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. You ain't got nothing to worry about. The mothers are not evil. The mothers are not scary. The mothers are not evil. They are only scary to men who know they've done dirt. That's my position. The mothers are not scary. The mothers are not terrifying, even in their most terrifying face, even in their most terrifying personification. They are not scary to me because I don't do dirt to humans. They do not scare me. They do not terrify me because I am not in wrong way. I don't move in wrong way, you see. They are only terrifying. Their face as judges, their face as correctors of wrong, their face as the Furies, their face as Lilith, Kali, and so on, is only terrifying to motherfuckers who know they did it wrong, who know they got debts to pay. You understand? So that's all I will say about that. I wanted to make sure I answered your question as concisely as I could. You understand? Power up. Do the things that you know to do. If you're going to do ritual, do all the old school shit. Put salt around the circle so nothing malevolent enters into your spiritual space. You understand? Wear protective stones in your pockets or in your cleavage. You feel me? Like, basic stuff that we know to do to protect ourselves and protect ourselves in space. Sage the space. You know what I'm saying? Use copal or use, sage or mugwort to protect your space so that nothing malevolent attempts to invade your space while you do a magical work. But the mother's got you. And that's the kind of confidence we have to step out in this magical work with. That's why I'm not scared of the eclipse. I'm not scared of the blood moon. I am welcoming the blood moon as the ultimate personification of the mother's time. I'm like, yes, bring it on. Yes, bring it on. So I think that's all I'm going to say about that. I may, since tomorrow is Saturday and it's a big day, I may do a live in the morning. I don't do lives in the afternoon on Saturday, but I may do a short live in the morning just to kind of reiterate, because I talked about a lot tonight, but reiterate how to approach ritual work tomorrow. I am doing my ritual tomorrow evening at night in the light of the moon, though the times again that the peak of the moon is happening for you. So if you want to remember this when you get ready to erect your altar, if you want to put it out during the day at the peak, that's cool. You can do that. Like, that's something you should do. Eastern Standard Time is 4:24 p.m. Central Time is 3:24 p.m. Mountain Time is 2:24 p.m. and 1:24 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is the time where the peak of the blood moon will be, the peak of the eclipse, are those times. So if you want to go ahead and put your altar out at that time, you don't have to see it for the energy to be present. So put it out at the peak of the eclipse to consecrate your altar or whatever it is you got that you're working with. And but then I'm still gonna get out in the night tomorrow and do ritual. So that's what I would say for any of you. If you got 2-3 homegirls, 12 homegirls ideally, between which yourself being the 13th, so 12 homegirls, y'all go out around some tree somewhere and pull a jack move tomorrow. Conspire for the resurrection of the mother. Conspire to resurrect the mother. Conspire for the emboldening of the women of the world. The protection of the women of the world, the securing of their lives, the women of the world. This is the conspiracy that the mother is going to emerge in us. We are she. We are she. You understand? So when you pray for the reemergence of the mother, when you pray for the mother's awakening, recognize that she is going to manifest herself in the bodies of women on earth. This is what we have to be conspiring to ensure. So with that being said, everyone, thank you so much for rocking out with me this long. Thank you so much for listening. If you would like to make a donation, those of you who are tuning in via Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, you can see the donation methods across the bottom of the screen. Cashapp is $IyapoNgina. Venmo is Cassandra-Floyd. Zelle is releaseheartcenter@gmail.com. PayPal is Iyapo for Uhuru or at IyapoNgina. If you need to know that, if you want to send me a donation, which automatically goes for the curing and the propagating of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence and all that it requires to do that, you can email me at releaseheartcenter@gmail.com. Again, I will be doing readings all day, Saturday and Sunday, all the way through Dia de los Muertos, which is November 2nd. So if you want to book a reading, tomorrow is a great, exceptional fucking day to get a reading. I do 30-minute readings, 1-hour readings. Email me at releaseheartcenter@gmail.com. releaseheartcenter@gmail.com. We can set up an appointment tonight. I'll be up for a while, so we can set up an appointment tonight. I'll send you a Zoom link. We'll do a live reading tomorrow. And and other than that, have an awesome evening. Pay attention to your dreams over the next 48 hours. That's big. Go dancing if you can somewhere. That's big. And, and forward to a fruitful and free future. All right. Good night.